I think I always knew in the back of my mind she was going to be okay. God's got this. Andi's got this. She is tough. She is a feisty little girl. I always heard moms talking about how they have their heart outside their body, and I just didn't understand that, and it truly is the best way to explain it. My heart is outside my body. The first time I saw Andi was several hours after she came into this world, and they had wheeled me down into the NICU, and she was in a little isolette box. She was 1 pound 4 ounces, very, very tiny, had all these machines hooked up to her, all these wires, breathing things on her face, but she was beautiful.
So the first time I saw Andi was immediately after she was brought into the world. She was being tended to by a team of NICU nurses and doctors, and she was in almost like what looked like a Ziploc bag. She was extremely small, very thin, looked very frail, and very scary, honestly.
We were on a really good path. She was making all this great progress, gaining weight, and then we got to the hospital one night to see her, and the doctors told us that she was really bloated, and they were concerned, and thankfully a nurse named Jackie, who ended up saving her life, saw that something just wasn't right, asked for all these tests to be done, and they found out that she did have a blood infection. That was by far the scariest moment of it all, because, and initially I didn't understand how serious it was. And it wasn't until one of her NICU doctors looked at me and said, "There's a chapel right there if you want to go pray." And I remember looking at Justin and like, well, of course you're gonna pray, but like, why now? What? And it rocked me. And I remember going into that little chapel and just breaking down, saying, we can't lose her, we can't live without her. And that was by far the hardest.
The thing that struck us was that she had been making improvements in, minuscule grams, but she was growing. She was on a healthy trajectory. She was breathing well, and it just kind of, bam, hit us that this is not only just a step back, but this is a significant risk. It was very stressful, not only worrying about Andi, but worrying about Nikki, trying to keep everyone thinking positive, continuing to believe positive, and just kind of moving forward day by day, hour by hour.
I think I always knew in the back of my mind she was going to be okay. God's got this. Andi's got this. She is tough. She is a feisty little girl. But when I finally exhaled was probably when she came home, I think. But then there's a whole new set of worries, right? Because you're home, you're away from the NICU, and the NICU was this kind of safe space for us. We had this constant helpless machine always there monitoring her, and these nurses making sure that she was okay. And then we brought her home, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's all on us now, which I think every parent feels. But there are different exhales for each step of the process.
When I kind of exhaled with her, it was when she was born, because the pregnancy from my seat was much more stressful than actually when she was out and there were people that could really see her and attend to her.
So the decision to share about Andi on social media was definitely a hard one, and I did not share as much as I think your typical mother would with a newborn baby, because it's usually, the first picture of the baby laying on your chest and all the balloons in the NICU and the celebrations, and we didn't have any of that. When I was going through my pregnancy, I sought out people on social media who had similar situations to me. Whenever I found that, I held on to it and I read and I messaged people, and that really helped me. So I thought, if I can help anyone with my situation, that I was going to do that. And it did. I heard from a lot of people that I helped them.
If it was cathartic and helped her, that was priority number one. Help Nikki let her do kind of whatever she needed to do, and if she felt that would help her, then support it. Nikki is the best mom. She steps up and handles everything. She works really long hours and she never complains. She just takes care of everything. She's truly the best mom ever.
I hold her, and sometimes when I'm rocking her to sleep at night after she eats and I'm just holding her, I'll just look at her and I'll just start crying because I just can't believe that I get to be her mom.